Hello there. In this video, we're going to check out building the footer component in our UI kit. So let's do this. Okay, so welcome back to the file. What I've done is I've gone ahead and I have created a footer page here. I've created a frame beneath here for our footer component, and I think it's got a container here with a row. I've also gone into our research file and I've copied out the navigation here from the bottom. So let's go back into the UI kit. Okay, so I'm looking at this component and I'm seeing what it's made up of. Now we've got our logo, we've got some text links here, we have a subscribe button here, we have a subscribe input here, we've got some social links. Now going into our wireframes in our research file, this subscribe input could be similar or could be related to some of the components we may need to make for the contact page. So we may end up leaving it till a bit later, but let's see. We could create a unique component for the footer, but we'll have to see. Let's just go back to our UI kit. So as a starting point, let's go in here, let's click into the row. Let's press F on the keyboard for frame. Let's just draw out a rough frame. Let's press Shift A for an auto layout. And let's just name this footer for now. So I think the screen width was 1440. Let's add that as a max width as well, 1440. And we can just set the frame width to fill. Now I think we could reuse some components here from our navigation to save us recreating unique states for our footer. So let's go up to the navigation. We could potentially reuse these links here. They're currently called nav links, but maybe we can create a separate page that just controls navigation links in general. So let's go back into the footer. Let's take the enabled nav link. Let's go back to our footer page. Let's click onto our footer. Let's paste that in. Now let's go around and let's just add a tiny bit more spacing. Okay, let's give the footer a color. So let's do neutral. Let's go to the bottom. I think it's neutral 0. It's what we're using for our navigation. Let's go back into the navigation. Let's just go ahead and let's copy and paste the logo. Go back to the footer, Command V, so paste that in. Let's just change it to a vertical layout in the auto layout. Let's move that logo up. Now let's shift click on both of these, Shift A, and create a container. Now we could probably add a bit more space between these items. So the first one is going to be the about page. Command D. Second one's going to be courses and merch, and the third one is going to be the contact page. And I'm going to shift click on these and put pages. Probably refine the spacing between here, so we use 24 for the moment. I think we could potentially change the color ever so slightly, so I could add it to like neutral 10. Yeah, so we'll add that. Let's go to the footer just there. So let's add that as neutral 10. So there's a slight difference. Looks like I need to redo this because we've just got some normal text here. So let's go nav link, duplicate, duplicate. Okay, so let's just go through the states and see how they look on this background. It's got enabled, hovered, focused, activated, pressed, and disabled. Okay, I think that's fine for now. Let's go back up, put that to enabled. Seem to look okay on this background. I think the contrast is probably going to be fine. We can always refine it later. So we've got another section here, and this is for social media. So let's just change the footer so it does space between. It needs to be going horizontal, needs to be centered. Let me just duplicate this container as well. So I don't need the logo. That's not what we need. I will, however, need a label. I won't need a nav link because it's more of a heading. So let's just attach this. That can just be called social for the moment. Let's just delete these out. Okay, I've just borrowed a layout from the navigation page, so let's do social. Okay, so I've added a section here for social. I'm just going to go in. I've copied across some states here. Just make sure we're clicked here. I've got a frame ready. So let's add in an icon slot first. Let's drag it in there. And now I want to press Shift A. So that's now around the icon slot. Now I can't really see that at the moment, so let me just do that so I can see. Okay, so around the corners there, and that's to 20. Okay, now what I need to do here really is if I go back into the navigation, let me just borrow Command C and go back into footer and just paste this beneath. We're probably going to want to follow similar styles, so let's click here, let's go and rename that as enabled. Okay, that's renamed as enabled. Let's press Command Option K, create that as a component. Press Command D, duplicate it. Let's detach it again. The next one is going to be hovered. So let's give that a name of hovered. Command Option K. I'm going to shift click both of those, combine as variants, and rename this to _social. Maybe I can put social icons. And I guess being consistent with the other pages, I'll do camel case. Okay, so let's start to take these colors. So enabled, just rename that to states. Okay, so enabled, I really need that just to be neutral. So it's going to be white. Although I suppose in this case for the footer, it may need to be neutral 10. Okay, so let's see. So it's neutral 10, hovered. Let's go in here, shift and click, copy that hovered color. Let's click on the plus again. This is going to be focused, which actually we don't need a color here. The fill's going to be neutral 10, and we're going to have a stroke of neutral 900. Let's just adjust the spacing between to just tighten that up. Click on here, click on the plus. This is going to be pressed. I on the keyboard, shift click, and I think as well we're going to need, so we're not going to need the stroke. We are, however, going to need a drop shadow. So let's go into our drop shadows, apply the variables, go up to modes, set the shadows, set that to small. Okay, so that one's done. Click on it again, click on the plus. That is going to be, I'm pretty sure that's going to be 500. Click on the plus, and disabled is here, and that's going to be, let me just see what that was going to be, neutral 100. Just need to remove the drop shadow from activated because we only need it on pressed. I think I've also got it on disabled here, so let's just remove that as well. Okay, let's just remove those. Let's just place enabled inside the social media part. Now, if I changed enabled to white, which would match the navigation, let's just double check and see how that would look. Okay, it doesn't look too bad. At least you can see it and it stands out as an icon. So for consistency, let's keep that for now. So we'll keep it as neutral 0. And then that keeps our states aligned with the navigation here and the footer items here. Okay, we do need some new icons here. I'm just going to go into the style guide. I'm going to go into our icons. Just going to unlock our icons here. Now let's go into feather icons. Okay, let's type in social. Now I want Facebook and I want LinkedIn. Close these down. Let's just grab both of these. And I want them to be, well, I don't want them there, but let's copy and paste, or let's drag them into this section here. Let's go in, press Command E to flatten. Same here, select all the elements within the LinkedIn, Command E, so that just flattens them. They're set to scale, they're set to scale. Okay, that should be fine. Let's just go in here, create multiple components. Okay, just before we publish, let's go in here. These should be neutral 900. Okay, that should be done. So now let's go up here, click on publish, add some notes. Okay, click publish, and there we go, that's saved. Let's go back into our UI kit. Okay, so as a default, let's use one of those icons. Let's click into here, and let's scroll down. Let's use Facebook to begin with, because that's pretty easy to use. Now, similar to the shopping cart, we need to update these icon colors, so this doesn't work at 900. Probably should be neutral 0. Same for these ones. For good contrast, put that to 0. Same for this one. There we go, that's 0. And the last one. Okay, there we go. Right, so let's go up here. So we've got 2 icons that I've put in. Let's just add these into another auto layout. Let's just call this icons for the moment. Let's do Shift A. Let's change that to horizontal layout. Let's just beef that up a little bit to semi-bold so it stands out a little bit more. Let's just turn off the menus. Let's just have a look at it so far. Okay, so I've stepped away from the file for 5-10 minutes. I've come back and I was thinking I wanted to align these states a little bit more with some of the other elements. So I'll go back to the navigation. I've made a few tweaks. So the nav links are going to remain the same. So we've got them up here and they've got the different colors as well. So we have our neutrals. We've also got some of the brand colors in there as well. So for example, on hover, we're using 300 and then so on. And as you get to pressed, it goes to 4. And as you go to activated, that goes to 5. Now I've taken a similar kind of approach here, just to double check and make sure we're using the same kind of colors. So hover is 300, focused has the outline here with the neutral color. Then we've got pressed at 400, activated at 500. That should be the same here. So go to hover, so 300, pressed 400 and activated 500. So again, going into my social icons in my footer, again following a similar pattern. So we've got a neutral background, then we go into hover, which is 300, focused here with the outline and the stroke, and then we've got pressed at 400 with the drop shadow, and then activated here at 500. So I think that would be a good approach. If I go over here, and let me just get rid of my menus. This is what we have so far. I think this looks a little bit better. I have since updated, actually looking at the footer, I've updated it a little bit more here on the right hand side. I've included the home page here and that's marked in an activated state as well. So that's good. And as you can see, we've got our social icons here over on the right hand side. Okay, so what I want to do next is I just want to go to the navigation page. I want to scroll up and I want to create a new page for these navigation links. So if I go, let's just go here, just put them here. And I think what I'm going to rename this to is navigation bar. Just check the component. Yep, so the page now matches the component name. Okay, I just want to drop the navigation links in here. So if I click here, right click, let's go to move to page, navigation links. And the reason why I'm moving it is because it's now used on the navigation bar and also on the footer. So it's probably a good idea for the moment just to separate it out. So let's go into the links page. Let's try and find it. So I think it's, so they're there. Copy a layout. So let's just grab this. Go in here and paste. Drop that in there. Let's remove that. Just tidy the file up a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to update some of the component names. So I've just got it as nav link. I'm just going to write it in full. So we've got navigation links, or navigation link. Let's just add in a description as well. Okay, just added a note for myself there. So that's good. Let's just lock that for now. And let's just rename the actual page itself. It's the navigation links. That's good. Okay, I think that page has now been tidied up. So we know that this component is now being used within the navigation bar and the footer, so that's good. Let's lock that. Okay, so the navigation bar is good as well. That's all up to date. And let's go back here to the footer page. That's good, so that's all tidied up. Okay, so to finish off, let's go in and let's click on the footer component here, Command Option K. Let's create that as a component. Let's go up here to assets, click on our libraries icon, click on publish, and I'll just add a note here. Okay, that's great. I'm just going to click on publish and there we go. That's the first version of our footer published. Okay, so I think that's it for this video. I think that's good progress today and we've added most of the elements. What I want to do in the next video is look at adding an input component. So here where we've got the subscribe, there's an input where you can type your email address. We're going to need a way of submitting that field as well. So we're probably going to need a button. So might be worth adding a button underneath it here. So what we'll do in the next video is we're going to create an input component with different states that we can use here in the footer. Potentially going back to the research file. And if I scroll to the right, this could be used in other areas as well, like you can see here on the contact page, so that input's going to come in handy. And yeah, after that we're going to need to consider what our button style is going to look like. So let's just go back to the UI kit. So in the next video, let's focus on creating an input component. And then from there, potentially after it, we'll look at creating some buttons that we can use across our design system. So yeah, that's what we're going to do in the next video. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thanks for getting to the end. Like and subscribe, add some comments, check out some other videos on my channel. It's getting to that time of year now where hay fever is kicking in. I can feel it on my eyes, I can feel it in my nose. It's unacceptable. I'm not going to complain because the weather is always raining in the UK, so getting some sun is good. So yeah, I am going to stop rambling and I will see you in the next video. I think people are looking for the last cake, which I've just taken. Snooze, you lose.